Wajo Koni Wala.
Thanks very much. It's my pleasure.
Education is actually the basis to access all other fundamental rights. If you lack education, you cannot freely express yourself. You cannot question those who are governing. If you lack education, there's no basis to expect that you have jobs that will make you comfortable in life. If you lack education, you cannot bring up your family in a decent manner. Education is the basis of life. But those who are ruling have deprioritized education. For example, university lecturers were on strike for several months, almost 1 year. After that, lecturers in the polytechnics in the country have been on strike for close to 12 months now, 1 year. But our message is to the Nigerian people that they must not expect that their rights will be given. Students should not expect that their rights will be given unless they fight for it. It is disappointing that even the so-called states being governed by a party that claims to be progressive, school fees is so high in each of these states. In Ekiti State, for example, it's about 150,000. In Lagos State, the school fees was raised from 25,000 naira per session to between 197,000 and 350,000. In Oyo State, the governor recently was saying the technical university they are establishing, he said it publicly, openly, that technical university is not for the poor. Why is it that these governments are using public resources to establish institutions to which children of the poor people cannot access? They are establishing institutions with public resources and they are excluding the children of the poor, making it exclusive for only the children of the rich. It is sad, it is condemnable, but the solution lies only with the people, only with the students. The students must insist that their rights are given. And we commend them for all their protests, particularly in Lagos State, as we speak. The only language that the ruling class understands is the language of protest, the language of street protest. The only other form of action that will salvage the situation is for labor, organized labor, the Nigeria Labour Congress, the Trade Union Congress, to rise up and solidarize with the students. We encourage the TUC leadership, we encourage the NSC leadership jointly to declare strikes in solidarity with the students in this country. It is the support coming from labor that can salvage the situation. The students have tried their best. They have continued to resist. But without the support of labor, they cannot go far. We call on labor to also support the students' agitations, because at each point, whenever labor is fighting, students have always identified with labor. Labor should also identify with students at this point in time. The kidnapping of about 300 Chibok girls is unfortunate. And the essence of it, the significance of it, is that there is no government in Nigeria. There is no security for anyone. Section 14(2)(b) of the 1999 Constitution provides that the welfare and security of the people shall be the primary essence of government. In other words, if any government is unable to provide security, that government has lost all the moral right to continue to rule. That about 300 students, young girls of Chibok Federal Government Secondary School have been kidnapped up to this moment without anyone knowing where they are, shows that there is no government, so to say, in Nigeria. The government that we have in Nigeria, all at various levels, are concerned with only their own welfare. They are not concerned with the security of the people. They spend a lot of money for their own private security. They don't bother about the security of ordinary people. That is a fundamental lesson we must draw. Everyone now is left to his own. However, in solving this problem, the problem cannot be solved by military operation. Within the context of the kidnap of about 300 Chibok girls, military operations will not solve the problem. Because the likelihood is that the Boko Haram people will use the young girls as human shield. In that context, it is imperative for government to negotiate with the Boko Haram insurgents. In actual fact, I advocate that they declare amnesty for them in exchange for the safe release of the Chibok girls. We want the Chibok girls back, but not dead. We want them to be released alive. In that context, just as the American government has also negotiated with the Taliban for the release of their soldiers, it is important, it is imperative for the Nigerian government to negotiate the release of the Chibok girls. Military operation will not solve the problem. But fundamentally, apart from securing the safe release of the Chibok girls, fundamentally, government must also take measures, put measures in place to prevent a repeat of similar experiences. But it's unfortunate, in spite of the imposition of emergency rule in the 3 states, on a daily basis, people are being slaughtered. People are being murdered. Houses are being burned. Villages are being razed down. Community members hardly sleep in their various houses, in spite of the emergency imposition in those 3 states. It therefore shows that government should tackle the problem from the point of view of putting in place social security schemes. Education must be provided free for all. Employment opportunities must be in place. Ordinary people must be able to access medical care. Decent houses must be built for the people. Unless government invests in these areas, even if they succeed in getting in the release of the Chibok girls, other people may also have a repeat experience, which we must prevent. The resources of Nigeria must be invested in the lives of ordinary people. Unless this is done, rather than wasting money in maintaining foreign soldiers in Nigeria, such resources should be invested in a process of re-socialization of the youths who have been compelled to join the Boko Haram insurgents, more or less as a means of earning a livelihood. Government should work on their brain. Government can only work on their brain when they have opportunity to access education. And when they know that there's a comfortable future for them, they will abandon the Boko Haram road and embark on the peaceful road, the road that can guarantee their future. Well, I believe Nigerians are conscious enough to take their destiny into their hands, which is what the government intends to stop by coming out with a purported ban on protests, calling for the release of the Chibok girls. What that ban, purported ban, indicates is that those who are ruling Nigeria are gangsters. They are not Democrats. We are not under any military dictatorship, but in their character tends to show that they want to fight on Nigeria. They want to impose on Nigeria dictatorship. And it is not until those who are ruling wear the uniform of soldiers that we know that what we have in place is dictatorship, not democracy. Section 40 of the 1999 Constitution provides that it is a fundamental right of every person to gather and protest for the protection of his or her interest. It is a fundamental right, and they cannot take that right away. They cannot take that right away. And Nigerians must just defy that order. If we did not defy the military decrees, banning protests, banning coming together of political parties, we would not have arrived at a situation of civilian rule that we have today in Nigeria. Under the military made it at the time, prohibited any political organization or protest. We, under the leadership of the late Chief Gani Fawahimi, we defied military rule and formed the National Conscience Party. It is that defiant spirit that the situation in Nigeria today demands. We must defy them, because rights are not given without a fight. Rights are to be fought for and won. No ruling class will willingly concede to the rights of the people. The people must fight for their rights. It is ahistorical to expect any ruling class anywhere in the world to concede to respect the rights of the people without the resistance coming from below. We continue to reiterate that the Nigerian governments should immortalize Chief M.K.O. Abiola. But not only Chief M.K.O. Abiola, we must also not forget the role played by Kudirat Abiola, who was murdered 18 years ago on June 4, 1996. That they have not been immortalized by the Nigerian government merely shows that the forces that are in control of power in Nigeria at all levels, they are opposed to the essence of June 12. And what is the essence of June 12? June 12 symbolizes abolition of poverty. The program of Chief M.K. Abiola was farewell to poverty. The conspiracy against Chief M.K. Abiola, which led to his murder and the murder of his wife, that conspiracy was not just against their individual persons. That conspiracy is against the abolition of poverty, which symbolizes the aspiration of ordinary people. Hope 93, that was the way Chief M.K. Abiola tagged this campaign. Nigerians had a huge hope that with the coming of Chief M.K. Abiola, there will be a program directed against poverty. But they will not like it. They cannot prefer to use the resources of the country to abolish poverty, to provide education, to provide healthcare, to provide houses. They prefer to continue to monopolize public resources for their own personal good. June 12 symbolizes unity of Nigerian ordinary people. But unity to achieve what? Unity to improve the well-being of ordinary people. June 12 is not just a sectional issue. Because without the support, the votes garnered by M.K. Abiola in the north, there will have been no June 12. Chief M.K. Abiola had more votes cumulatively from the north than even from the south on a cumulative basis. I have all the data here. That vote was given to him because of that program. Because it symbolized, June 12 symbolized the unification of forces, anti-military forces, anti-military dictatorship forces. Some of us were never partisan in terms of being supporters of SDP or NRC. But we supported actualization of June 12 on the basis that it provided a platform to rally around all the forces that were against the continued rule of military dictators as at that time. But today, what are we witnessing? June 12 was annulled, symbolizing the annulment of the aspirations of the people. Those who are ruling today have continued to annul June 12. What do I mean? For as long as you have a government that is not implementing programs that will abolish poverty, that is not concerned about providing free education, a government that is not concerned about using public resources for public good, that government is an anti-June 12 government. Because in my own perspective, June 12 was supported so enormously by the Nigerian people because all the Nigerian poor people saw in it a hope for the better, a hope for an end to a poverty-ridden life. It is unfortunate in this country that we have people, whether in military uniform or in civilian dress, they aspire to occupy public offices, but not to advance, not to promote public good. They aspire to occupy public office and in order to conspire to rule against the interests of the people. They aspire to occupy public office, not to retain, to ensure that public enterprises remain and jobs of the people are kept. But they aspire to occupy public offices in order to use the power to sell what belongs to ordinary people. Public enterprises have been sold. They aspire to get to power, to use the power against the interests of the people. Now they are advocating regionalism, and their goal is to ensure that they will be paying the minimum wage that they can afford. Meanwhile, they are allocating to themselves enormous allowances, enormous salaries, enormous pensions that are not proportionate to the living standard of an average, a typical Nigerian. Not long ago, Akpabio in Akwa Ibom State made the State House of Assembly to pass a pension, governor and deputy governor pension law, which allocated to himself as former governor, any former governor, a sum of 200 million per annum, and not less than 100 million for medical care. But Akpabio is not alone. That is the tendency. That is what is happening in all other states. In Oyo State, we have a similar pension law. In Oyo State, the pension law provides that a former governor or deputy governor shall be entitled to pension for life on the scale of the salary of the incumbent governor. And the pension is not just limited to salaries. The pension also includes all allowances being earned by any sitting governor. So Akpabio of Akwa Ibom State is not alone. It is the same thing in Lagos State. Every 3 years, several cars, several houses want to be built, want to be bought for a former governor or deputy governor. This is a country in which the minimum wage is just 18,000 naira. This is a country where minimum wage is 18,000 naira, and those they have put at the confab, we were told will be earning 4 million naira. 4 million naira monthly as against 18,000 naira minimum wage. That is the country we live in. We live in a country in which even majority of those, not all of them, majority of those who are at the confab are saying that they are opposed to the upward review of minimum wage of 18,000 naira. Whereas many of them, majority of them, are earning the 4 million naira being paid by the federal government. Do they have the moral right to say they are opposed to an upward review of 18,000 naira minimum wage? Someone earning 4 million naira per month telling us that they will make a law to stop upward review of minimum wage of 18,000 naira. They are also saying the Senate has also recently passed, from their own point of view, it is not yet law, but the Senate has proposed that INEC should deregister political parties that are unable to win seats, as if winning seats is the only preoccupation of a political party.